Good afternoon everyone. Welcome to the daily news analysis of the NEXT IAS on 23rd May 2025. So let's start with the list of important topics which we are going to discuss. The first is about inauguration of the Amrit Bharat stations by Prime Minister Modi across different states in India. Next is about the slump or decline, 96% slump or decline in the net FDI as per the latest RBI report in India. Next one is about the transfer of Chagos Island sovereignty by the United Kingdom to the Mauritius government. Then next news is about the recent report by ASI about the Keezhadi Excavations in the Tamil Nadu and its significance from art and culture perspective. The last one is about the recent Supreme Court judgment about the urban forestry in India and its significance from the environmental perspective. So let's start with the today's episode of the daily news analysis. The first is about the Amrit Bharat railway station scheme. Recently in Bikaner, our Prime Minister has inaugurated 103 Amrit Bharat stations, redeveloped Amrit Bharat stations across different states in India. And let's start. We are going to discuss the significance as well as the various components of this scheme. So let's start with this. The first and foremost, this scheme was launched by Ministry of Railways with the purpose of long-term as well as the phased redevelopment of the railway stations across the India and transforming them into the modern and passenger-centric urban hubs. Now, what are the key features of this particular Amrit Bharat railway station scheme? The first and most important feature is about the holistic modernization of the railway stations, which includes various infrastructural upgrades like waiting halls, new toilets, platforms, roofs, lighting, Wi-Fi facilities, resurfaced platforms. Then the second emphasis or second component is about focus on the passenger comforts, which include installation of lifts, escalators, free Wi-Fi, better science and information systems, executive lounges as well as the special areas for the business meeting as per the station specific needs. Next emphasis or component is on the cleanliness as well as the accessibility, which includes focus on the clean surroundings, well marked signage and dedicated pedestrian pathways, widened road across the stations. The scheme also includes the component of the eco-friendly as well as the inclusive designs, which includes noise-free tracks, greener landscape across the stations and within special care for the person with disabilities, that is Divyangjans, through Sangam Bharat Abhiyan. What are the components for the Divyangjans or persons with disabilities? Which includes accessible entry ramps, low height ticket counters, braille signages and tactile pathways, accessible parking, toilets, drinking water booths for the persons with disabilities, and subways, foot-over bridges or lifts with ramps. Now, this particular scheme also focuses on the cultural and local themes in the designs of the stations. For example, in case of Ahmedabad railway station, the theme of Modhera Sun Temple is replicated, whereas in case of Gurugram, IT theme is adopted. In case of Baleshwar, Odisha, Bhagwan Jagannath Temple theme has been adopted. So there is a focus on reflecting the local themes or local art and cultural or architectural marvels in the theme, which are going to be replicated in the railway station developments under the Amrit Bharat stations. So what are the other schemes integrated into this particular Amrit Bharat station? The first and foremost is about the one station, one product scheme, which involves the component of promotion of the local crafts as well as the produce through prominent display outlets on the railway station, and these artifacts, these items may include tribal artifacts or handlooms or spices or teas, local teas or GI tags products, coffees, etc. Also, there is a focus on the multimodal connectivity, which includes integration of the Amrit Bharat stations with the bus depot, metro stations, pedestrian zones to facilitate the seamless travel experience for the passengers across the stations into the city. There are certain best examples which I must quote. The first is about the Gandhinagar railway station, which was developed under Amrit Bharat station. It is the first modernized station with 5-star hotel integration along with station. The second example can be quoted is about Rani Kamplapati station in the Madhya Pradesh, which includes first world-class railway station under the PPP mode, which has been developed under the public-private partnership mode. And when it comes to long-term vision, which was given by our Prime Minister, there is an component or there is an aim or objective to transform the Amrit Bharat railway stations into the vibrant city centers, business and social interaction zones, as well as acting them as a hub of multimodal mobility hubs beyond just transit points. So this is the practice question, that is the one's MCQ, one station, one product initiative under the Amrit Bharat Station Scheme primarily aims to. Please solve this question. Now, the next news is about recent RBI report, which states that there has been a 96% decline in the net FDI in 2024 as compared to previous year. So, the net FDI into India in 2024-25 was just $353 million. So, first, before we start in venture into this net FDI details, we must know what is the FDI. So, basically FDI refers to the process by which a company or an individual from one country invest into the assets or business in another country, and it will be having long lasting interest as well as the influence in the management and administration of that particular country in other country, particular company in other country. So, this type of FDI or investment usually involve the component of acquiring significant stakes in any company or establishing subsidiaries in other countries or forming joint venture with the companies and in the host country. So, this was about the foreign direct investment. Now, let's go into the what is net FDI. Basically, net FDI is gross FDI, which is the total money coming in any particular country minus money that is being repatriated by foreign companies doing business in India, plus an outward FDI by Indian companies into the foreign companies. So, this is basically the formula for the net FDI. Net FDI is equal to gross FDI inflows minus repatriation of capital by foreign companies in their home countries, as well as outward foreign direct investment by Indian firms into foreign countries. So, basically it is the measure of net capital retained within the Indian economy due to FDI. Okay, so gross FDI into India rose to 81 billion, that is 13.6% growth, 81 billion during 2024-25, but at the same time net FDI declined 97% to 353 million due to the large scale repatriation out of the country, driven to an extent that overseas investors such as Hyundai cashing out through initial public offerings. So, this particular table highlights the data regarding the FDI. See, when it comes to 2021, we can see the net FDI was 44 billion, and that was 2021 was pandemic year. There was high net FDI because of the lower outflows. Indian economy was in the acute crisis at the time of COVID pandemic, and at that time our multinational companies, Indian companies preferred not to go for outward investment, but at the same time outward investment from the foreign companies, that is FDI, kept coming in. That is the reason. In case of 2021-2022, there is a start of steady decline in the net FDI, which was around 38.6 billion. In case of 2023-24, their net FDI was 10.1 billion, which was a significant decline vis-a-vis previous year, and in case of 2024-25, we can see it is just 0.353 billion, which is a 96.5% decline from the previous year, and it is also the historic low in case of net FDI. This figure is according to the RBI bulletin May 2025. So, let us go into the deeper analysis of this decline in the net FDI, or we must understand certain trends which have been there behind this trend. The first and foremost is the gross FDI inflows which are coming into the Indian economies are steady. We can see in 2024-25, the net gross FDI into Indian economy was $81 billion, which was 13% higher than the previous year. It indicates that India as a FDI destination remains an attractive destination over the world, and there has been a steady increase in the flow. Second, there has been second trend is about the repatriation by the foreign firms which have been investing in India. Basically, whatever the multinational corporations are there, they have been performing massive repatriation of multinational corporations operating in India, repatriating significant profits out of India. Second thing, it can also reflect the improved earnings of the foreign companies in India, but at the same time, whatever the profits they have been gaining in India, they are preferring to repatriate to their home country rather than investing it in India. This could have been because of multiple reasons, like foreign companies which are earning profits in India could be seeing better opportunities abroad. This could be reason of the tax optimization strategy. There can be a reason of uncertainty or slower policy environment in India. Third thing is about the higher outward FDI by Indian companies. The larger Indian conglomerates are preferring to invest in abroad very aggressively, especially in the newer markets like Latin America, Africa. We can see the Airtel has presence in more than 33 countries in Africa, or Reliance is venturing into the Latin American oil markets. So the Indian conglomerates are venturing aggressively into the foreign lands, especially those have been underexplored in the past. This higher outward FDI by Indian companies could be due to the strategic acquisition in the foreigns, diversification into the foreign markets like newer ones like Africa, Latin America. The sectors which have been going for outward FDI specific like IT, pharmaceuticals, renewable energy. These are the sectors which are in the dominant when it comes to outward FDI. Now, what are the reasons behind this slump or decline? Decline in the net FDI in Indian economy. The first, as I have been already discussed, regarding the profit repatriation by the foreign companies. Then outward FDI boom by the Indian companies like Airtel, Reliance. Then post-COVID capital dynamics. Basically, there have been a significant changes in the global investment patterns post-COVID scenario in the global economy, and this slump or decline could be the result of that also. Then global interest rates. Basically, the developed economies like USA have been offering better interest rates, as a result of which the capital has been going for outflow. Then geopolitical risk hedging. Basically, larger conglomerates or MNCs are preferring to shift their investment in the safer jurisdiction, relatively safer jurisdiction. This could be one of the reason for high FDI outflow by the Indian companies or multinational companies. Now, what are the impacts or strategic or economic implications of this decline in the net FDI? The first and foremost is the impact on the balance of payment. Lower net FDI puts pressure on the current account balance of the India. The second, the impact will be obviously on the foreign exchange reserves, which will reflected in the decrease in the net dollar flows, could affect the our reserve buildup, which is around $600 billion as of now. The third is about the presence of investment sentiment. Despite the high gross outflows, repatriation from the Indian economy signals the exit strategy mindset or insecurity among the multinational companies that have been present there in the Indian market. Second, next one is about the job creation or the industrial growth. Reduced, the higher repatriation means the multinational companies are preferring less to invest the profit that they have been earning in the Indian market, and this will lead to the reduced investment by the multinational companies, which will eventually lead to slower industrial expansion. Next impact can be of globalization of the Indian firms, which has been reflected by the increased outward FDI by Indian firms. This also indicates the maturing of the global firms and ultimate culmination of post-LPG reforms in terms of growth as well as the maturation of the larger conglomerates of Indian origin. Now, Let's go into some statistics. When it comes to the 2014 to 19, average net FDI per year was 35 to 40 billion per year. But in case of 2024-25, it is just 0.4 billion, which also reflects a cycle low in the cycle of the FDI since 2000, early 2000s liberalization phase. So, what are the lessons or what are the policy takeaways for the Indian government as well as the Indian market? The first and foremost is that there is a need for policies which encourage the profit reinvestment by the foreign firms which have been investing in India. We need to find or we need to give certain incentives to the MNCs by which they will prefer to invest their profit in India only rather than repatriating. Second, we need to enhance our ease of doing business and regulatory stability so that foreign firms will encourage or even Indian firms will encourage to invest in India only. The next is about we need to strengthen India's image as a long-term investment destination through various measures. Next is about fostering the domestic reinvestment mechanism for retained earnings. We need to develop certain mechanism which will foster the reinvestment of the profit that has been earned by the Indian as well as the foreign companies. Then also we need to steadily monitor what are the capital outflow patterns and also what are the factors or vulnerability factors which are leading to such outflow so that the corrective actions or rectification measures can be taken at earliest. So, this is the practice question. Which of the following are the potential advantages of FDI for a host country like India? Please solve this question. Now, the third topic is about the Chagos Island. This topic was in news for a couple of years, which has ultimately culminated into transfer of sovereignty by United Kingdom governments of the Chagos Island to the Mauritius. So, recently the UK government has signed an agreement handing over the sovereignty of the Chagos Island, which are contested as well as the strategically located in the Indian Ocean, to the Mauritius government. Basically, this agreement include lease of this particular Chagos Island base to the UK and US at the rate of $136 million per year. So, what was this basically Chagos archipelago sovereignty dispute? This basically this dispute has been there since 1960s, and in 2022 United Kingdom government as well as the Mauritius government had decided to start the negotiations to resolve this dispute. Ultimately, in October 2024, UK agreed to hand over the Chagos Islands to the Mauritius, but it was not implemented, which in yesterday, that is in May 2025, the agreement was signed and ultimately the dispute was ended. So, basically let us go into certain geographical aspect of the Chagos archipelago or Chagos Island. Basically, it is a group of 7 atolls comprising more than 60 islands in Indian Ocean, more specifically in the central Indian Ocean, which is about 500 kilometers south of the Maldives archipelago. This is basically a chain of islands of Chagos Lakshadweep Ridge, which is a long submarine mountain range present in the Indian Ocean. Few important islands which are located north of this Chagos archipelago are Solomon Islands, Nelson Island, Piros Banhos, and towards the southwest there are Three Brother Islands, Eagle Islands, Egmont Islands, Danger Islands. So, all of them are low-lying atolls except few which are small instances set around the lagoons. Now, let us go into the history of the Chagos archipelago. Basically, this Chagos archipelago in the early 19th century, in the era of expansionism, British took over these islands and proclaimed it as their colony in 1814. But during the Cold War era, there was an agreement between the Britain as well as the USA government, which led in 1965, which led to the creation of British Indian Ocean Territory, which included Chagos archipelago, establishing their defense as well as the communication facilities. In 1971, British as well as the US military joint facility was created on Diogo Gracia, and plantations there were closed. In between 1967 to 73, Britain has removed all the inhabitants of the Chagos archipelago. In 1976, after the islands obtained from Seychelles were returned, British Indian Ocean Territory comprised only islands of the Chagos archipelago. So, the next point is about the strategic importance or strategic significance of the Chagos archipelago. First and foremost is about the strategic location of the Chagos archipelago. We can see the Chagos archipelago or Chagos Islands are located in the central Indian Ocean, just south of the Maldives, and this particular route is also important route from the international maritime security as well as the maritime transport. So, they are very strategically located. You can see here Africa, here India, Sri Lanka, then Madagascar. They also, with the help of this base, Britain as well as the UK can easily monitor the key shipping lanes going across the Indian Ocean. Also, this particular military base helps UK as well as the US to project their power into the Middle East, Africa, South Asia, and enhances the maritime security in the critical global region of Arabian Sea as well as the Red Sea, which is also the home to the more than 90% of the oil traffic across the world. Then, as we have already discussed, there is a UK-US military base on Diogo Gracia. It's a huge military installation which is also works as a hub for logistics, surveillance and intelligence of the US and UK militaries and navies across the Indian Ocean region. From the environmental as well as the biodiversity perspective, it is one of the largest coral atoll, and which is rich in the marine biodiversity and also host largely undisturbed ecosystem. So, what is the India's response in this case? Basically, India has welcomed the signing of treaty between UK and Mauritius on return of the Mauritian sovereignty. India in post-independence time constantly supported Mauritius' legitimate claim over the Chagos archipelago in keeping with its principled position on decolonization, respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity of the nations. The next, this is about the practice question with reference to the Chagos archipelago recently seen in the news. Consider the following statement. Chagos archipelago is located in the western Indian Ocean west of the Maldives. UK has agreed to hand over sovereignty of Chagos Island to the Mauritius. Diogo Gracia, largest island in the archipelago, hosts a Chinese military base. Which of the above statements are incorrect? So, please solve this question. Now, let us go into the next news, that is the Keezhadi Excavations. Basically, what is the context of this Keezhadi excavation? Recently, the two-member team of the ASI has asked archaeologist Amarnath Ramkrishnan, who has unearthed Keezhadi excavation, to rewrite the report to make it more authentic. Okay, so let us go into the news, dissect this news. Basically, this particular Keezhadi civilization that was unearthed by the prominent archaeologist Amarnath Ramkrishnan in 2017, and he has unearthed ancient civilization in Keezhadi near Madurai. When he has done the carbon dating, it was found that Keezhadi site in February 2017, it belonged to the 200 BCE. So, the recent report which has been given by the Archaeological Survey of India, it has basically, it says that there are 2 to 3 corrections which are to be done. The first is about the period 3, as per the report which was given by Balkrishnan, it mentions 3 periods, and the recent report says that the 3 periods require proper nomenclature or reorientation, and the time bracket of the first period, period 1, which was there for between 8th century BCE to the 5th century BCE, requires concrete justification. As per the latest report, the period 1 that was mentioned between 8th century BCE to 5th century BC needs more proofs or concrete justification. Says that the other 2 periods, that is period 2 and 3, must be determined based on the AMS, that is accelerated mass spectrometry dates and material recovered from the stratigraphical sites. So, the third suggestion that has been given, the date of the earliest period in the present state of our knowledge appears to be very early than it is actual. It can be at maximum somewhere between 300 BC. But the report which was given by the Balkrishnan, it was saying that the earliest period was around 8th century BC. So, there is almost a gap of 500 years between the two. So, these are the corrections that have been suggested by the recent report given by the Archaeological Survey of India. So, what is the significance of this Keezhadi civilization, excavation or this civilization? Basically, Keezhadi is a Sangam era civilization site currently being excavated by ASI in collaboration with the Tamil Nadu State Department of Archaeology. It is located on the bank of Vaigai river, Madurai, and this site is believed to be approximately from 5th century BC to the 3rd century BC. There are important findings like spindle whorls, copper needles, terracotta seals, hanging stones, terracotta spears, gold ornaments, ivory dice, precious or semi-precious stones. So, what is the, after understanding what are the key findings, we need to know what is the significance of these findings. First and foremost significance, that this particular findings show the existence of pottery making industry, weaving industry and dyeing industry, glass bead industry, which suggests that there was an advanced urban civilization existed in the Tamil Nadu in the Sangam age on the banks of Vaigai river. And as these findings includes brick structure as well as the luxury items, they also suggest the proof of internal as well as the external trade possibly with the Roman Empire. Archaeological findings have pushed the Sangam age further back to the 800 BC. As per the, if we believe in the original report that has been submitted by the Ananta Balkrishnan, the Sangam age era was further pushed to 800 BC. Earlier it was believed that it was from 200 BC onwards, but it has pushed almost 500 to 600 years. Then the other important significance of the Keezhadi excavation is it provides us missing link between Iron Age, that is 12th century BC to the 6th century BC, and early historic period, that is 6th century BC to the 4th century BC. So, it was a kind of missing link that has been provided by the Keezhadi excavation. So, this is the basic significance of the Keezhadi excavation. Now, there are certain scholars which suggest the possible links of the Keezhadi excavation with the Indus Valley civilization, and but there has been a cultural gap of more than 1000 years between the two places, which has been so far the gap has been filled by the Iron Age material in South India, which serve as a residual link between the two, that is Keezhadi excavation or Sangami civilization and the Harappa Valley civilization. So, few scholars suggest that there could be certain similarities or connection between the two based on some symbols that have been found in the pot shades of Keezhadi, which bears close resemblance with the Harappa Valley or Indus Valley signs. But at the same time, scholars are also opinion that we need for more digging or more study to come to certain conclusion to establish link between the two civilization. After understanding about this Keezhadi civilization, we must go into the importance or significance of the Sangam period. Basically, Sangam period refers to it's basically a Tamil adaptation of the Sanskrit word Sangha, meaning an assembly or association. Basically, in the context of Sangam era, Sangam refers to the literally colleges of poets or literally academy of poets and scholars that have thrived in the successive phases under the patronage of the Pandya dynasty, which was there in the southernmost part of the peninsula. Sangam text, basically the Sangam literature or Sangam text put emphasis or focus on secular life such as governance, warfare, philanthropy, society, trade, caste system, religion, agriculture. So it is a very varied literature which consists of different components of the society prevalent at that time. Sangam literature basically has a different components like earliest Tamil works called as the Tolkappiyam, or 10 poems which are also called as the Pattu Puttu, 8 anthologies also called as the Ettu Togai, and 18 minor works, Kilkanaku, and other epics. So Sangam period or Sangam literature is a huge that has been in the existence more than 2500 years. So this is the practice question. With reference to recent excavation in the Keezhadi in Tamil Nadu, consider the following statement. The excavation of the site is situated on the banks of Tamira Barani river. It provides the crucial evidence for understanding the missing links of Iron Age to the early historic period. The findings of luxury items at site provides the proof of Sangamim civilizations of links with internal and external trade. Which of the above statements are correct? Please solve this question. Now let's go into the last topic of today's, that is the urban forest. So what is the backdrop or context? In the context of threat to Hyderabad urban forest, that is Kancha Guchibawli, Supreme Court gave certain judgment or reprimanded the Telangana government and stopped the project that was supposed to destroy this particular urban forest. Basically, for certain industrial development project, the state government was handing over this particular land, which included the 100 acres of trees or urban forest in the Hyderabad. This particular entire issue highlights what is the vulnerability of the India's urban forest and environmentally insensitive models of the urban development as well as the industrial development that has been there in the India since post-independence time. So before discussing this issue in detail, first and foremost we know what is urban forest. Basically, urban forest refers to the all tree dominated green areas in and around urban areas. It is a all tree dominated green areas in and around urban areas. It includes forest, wooded land, tree outside forest as long as these are situated in the urban environments. So basically it has 4 components: forest, wooded lands, tree outside areas, and tree located in and around the urban environments. So what is the significance of the urban forest in the context of India? The first and foremost is about urban forest acts as a lung of that particular city. They help to mitigate the climate change impacts by sequestering the carbon, reduce the urban heat island effect that has been battering our cities like Pune, Bangalore, Chennai, help to control the stormwater runoff, erosion and flooding. Even today, 2 days back, there was a heavy rainfall in the Pune and Bangalore which led to the significant flooding in those cities. The few examples of the urban forest like RA colony in the Mumbai or Turahalli in Bangalore. Second is about the urban forest act as a safeguard against the toxic urban air. The 2006 study in the US university showed that 1 hectare of urban forest can remove around 1 ton of the air pollutants from the air. Third is about the promote conservation of the species. See, basically these green spaces prevalent in the urban areas ensures the longevity and survival of endangered birds and animals that are there in the city areas, in and around city areas. Water management, basically since trees have very good capacity of water infiltration, they reduce the surface runoff, which ultimately prevents the urban flooding that has been battering the Indian cities like Chennai, Hyderabad, Pune in recent times. It enriched the urban and social culture and life. The proximity of urban forest provides sense of relaxation or nature sensitive recreation to the urban people, and also it improves the economic value, increases the property values that have been there in around the urban forest. So what are the consequences of diminishing urban forest percentage in India? The first and foremost is about the worsening air pollution crisis which Indian cities have been faces. As CPCP data has shown in November 2024, The air quality index of Delhi was hazardous, that is 494. Increased urban heat island effects, which is leading to the higher urban temperature, increasing energy demand for cooling, worsening heat stress. The example can be Bangalore, Pune. Higher risk of urban flooding. Fewer, when it comes to destruction of the urban floods, it leads to the reduced water absorption, more frequent and intense urban flooding. For example, deforestation in the RA forest in Mumbai for the metro project or metro carshed area led to the increased vulnerability to flooding due to the Mithi river in Mumbai. Loss of biodiversity. Basically, deforestation lead to the habitat loss and decline in the urban biodiversity, affecting the ecological balance of that particular area or ecosystem. Then from human perspective, the negative health impact because of the air pollution or urban heat island effect, like respiratory ailments, cardiovascular diseases, mental health issues. Also, it leads to the social and recreational loss which urban resident could have enjoyed with the help of or with the presence of urban forest. So, what are the measures that have been taken to promote the urban forest in India? We will venture into the policy interventions. The first is about the National Forest Policy of 1988 as well as the National Mission for Green India in 2014 emphasizes upon the increasing afforestation and social forestry. The next is about the Smart Cities Mission and Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, which was launched in 2015, had integrated urban designs with ecological and social development. There was a proper space provided for ecological as well as the social concerns in these two schemes. The next is about Nagar One Yojana, which was launched with the purpose of developing more than 600 Nagar Vans and 400 Nagar Vatikas across the country during 2021 to 27. So, this scheme, basic purpose of this particular Nagar One Yojana was enhancing the tree outside forest and green cover, enhancement of the biodiversity and ecological benefits to the urban as well as the peri-urban areas, which will ultimately result in improving the quality of life of city residents. Central grants for this particular scheme was given from CAMPA, Compensatory Afforestation Fund, under the scheme. As per the India State Forest Report 2023, this particular Nagar One Yojana scheme has resulted in increase of more than 1400 square kilometer of tree and forest cover across different cities of India. This is very big achievement. So, when it comes to urban forest, there had frequent judicial interventions, or we can say judicial activism, to protect the environment or protect the urban forest in India over the period of time. The first intervention came in 1996, which in Godavarman case. In this, the definition of forest was broadened by the Supreme Court to enhance the protection of urban greenery also. The definition of forest was broadened to include the urban greenery in the forest. In 2004, Supreme Court has issued interim order to all the state government in India for identification, scrutiny and mapping of the forest across the territories. In 2015, Delhi High Court directed Delhi government to notify and protect Delhi Reach, which is also known as the Arvali Leopard Wildlife Corridor. And in 2020, Supreme Court issued stay order on the tree felling in RA colony in 2022 in response to the petition by citizens to save RA forest movement. So, this is about the judicial interventions over the period of time for protection or saving of the urban forest which were undergoing cutting or destruction as a result of different infrastructure projects. So, what is the role or what should be the role of civil society organization as well as the enlightened or concerned citizens? There is one prominent example. There have been a protest against felling of trees in the biodiversity rich areas of the Baran district in Rajasthan. As a result of which, Rajasthan High Court took a suo motu cognizance of the matter and stopped the felling of those particular trees. So what is the way forward? Basically, what can be done to prevent the destruction of the urban forest as a result of infrastructure development or any other reason, and also what can be done to protect the uh, existing forest as well as to generate or to promote plantation of the more urban forest. The first, what can be the policy or regulatory frameworks? The first and foremost is incorporating urban forestry into urban planning. National Urban Forest Policy 2020 deliberately integrates urban forestry into component into urban development. Then strengthening of legal protection of urban areas. For example, states can enact laws or bylaws to protect the heritage trees and penalize unauthorized cutting that has been going for different reasons or different infrastructure projects. The example can be given Delhi Preservation of the Trees Act 1994, which it has provided legal framework for tree conservation in the city. Then next is about promotion of the ecological restoration and increasing green cover in the densely populated urban areas. Next measure can be taken in initiating or promoting the public participation in the tree plantation drives. There have been different NGOs that have been proactively working to promote public participation through tree plantation. For example, Tree Foundation in Hyderabad have mobilized more than thousands of citizens for sapling plantation drives across the city. Next, adopt a tree campaign, in which residents can take ownership of trees and ensuring their protection and maintenance. Also, we can utilize scientific planning as well as the scientific technologies like GIS as well as the remote sensing to map and monitor tree cover. Use of Miyawaki urban forestry. For example, Bangaluru's tree census was done using GIS to map over more than 1 million trees. At last, we can incentivize private sector as well as the institutional participation through various provision of through various tax benefits as well as the fast track approvals to the developer that have been maintaining green spaces. So ultimately, urban forestry is not just about the planting trees. It is a holistic strategy for promoting climate resilience, biodiversity preservation across the cities, and improved quality of urban living. Through various measures such as policy support, scientific planning, community involvement, replicable models like Miyawaki forest, Indian cities can transform into greener, healthier, and more sustainable spaces. Thank you.